Call the meeting to order. This is the regular meeting of the Clark County Board of Education for May 16th, 2017. I'd like to welcome all of you who have chosen to join us this evening, on this beautiful evening. I'd like to have everyone stand and let's observe a moment of silence. Now the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item of business is adoption of the agenda. Does anyone have any changes, additions, or subtractions? There's two items for closed session, 37 and 38. That wasn't on the preliminary agenda, which was issued last meeting. So,
Do you want to leave the salary discussion?
On the salary schedules, could we postpone that discussion until the budget meeting?
okay. So that item is number 9. Yeah. So we'll strike that. Any other changes? If not, a motion is in order to adopt the agenda as amended.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Peridot.
Second.
Second by Ms. Six. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next up is approval of minutes for the Clark County District Finance Corporation meeting, April 18th, and the regular meeting on April 18th. I'll hear these separately since I wasn't able to attend the District Finance Corporation
I
meeting.
was in that meeting.
with Mr. Peridot. So it's a good thing the other three of you were here.
I move that we approve the minutes of the Clark County District Finance Corporation meeting of April 18th, 2017.
Motion by Ms. Hicks, second by Ms. Ritchie. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3-0 with Ms. Hicks, Ms. Ritchie, and Mr. Heisel voting in favor, and Dr. Kudak and Mr. Peridot abstaining. And then next is the April 18th regular meeting. Any changes, additions, subtractions to that? If not, a motion is in order to approve the April 18th, 2017 regular meeting minutes as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Peridot.
Second.
Second by Ms. Hicks. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Another reason everyone is here, student and staff recognitions.
We have some recognitions this evening. First off, I'd like to call Miss Ella Brock to the front. The Clark County Agency for Substance Abuse Policy held an anti-tobacco slogan contest for all Baker Intermediate students as part of the National Kick Butts Day.
Stay here. These are giveaways. You have to receive them.
There'll be pictures and everything here now. That was held on March the 16th. Kick Butts Day is a national day of activism that empowers youth to speak up and take action against tobacco. Ella's slogan and artwork, and I think this is just the neatest thing: cigarettes are bullies that travel in packs. And it was selected as the overall winner by the ASAP Youth Network. Her message was incorporated into posters that were distributed to every school in the district, as well as various locations around town. In addition to that, she received a gift card to help celebrate her winning. So congratulations, Ella. And you see her artwork. Could Jacob Green come forward? The National Merit Scholarship Program is an academic competition for recognition and scholarships that began in 1955. High school students enter the National Merit Program by taking the preliminary SAT National Merit Scholarship Qualifying Test, and that's a test which serves as an initial screener of approximately 1.6 million students entrants each year, and by meeting a published program entry and other participation requirements. Of that 1.6 million students, some 50,000 with the highest scores are selected. A selection index scores qualifies for recognition in the Merit Scholarship Program. In September, these high scorers are notified through their schools that they have qualified as either a commended student or a semifinalist. In early September, about 16,000, we've come from 1.6 million down to 16,000 at this point. In early September, about 16,000 students, or approximately 1/3, of the 50,000 high scorers are notified that they have qualified as semifinalists. To ensure that academically talented young people from all parts of the United States are included in this talent pool, semifinalists are designated on a state representational basis. They are the highest scoring entrants in each state. The National Merit Scholarship Program provides scholarship application materials to the semifinalists through their high schools. To be considered for a National Merit application, materials to scholarships to semifinalists must advance to the finalist standing in the competition by meeting high academic standards and all other requirements explained in the information provided to each of the semifinalists. In February, they narrowed down to 15,000 semifinalists are notified by mail at their home address that they have advanced to a finalist standing. High school principals are notified and provided with a certificate to present to each finalist. All winners of Merit Scholarship Awards are chosen from the finalist group based on their abilities, skills, and accomplishments. A variety of information is available for the National Merit Scholarship Program to make their selections to evaluate the finalists by academic record, information about the school's curriculum and the grading system, 2 sets of test scores, and high school officials' written recommendation, and other information about the students' activities and leadership. Jacob Green was selected as the recipient of a National Merit Georgia Pacific Foundation Scholarship. He's one of 22 in the state of Kentucky. Has come down from 1.6 million. That's to be commended. Jacob will be attending the University of Cincinnati this fall, where he'll be majoring in aerospace technology. Or aerospace engineering, I'm sorry. It'll be different. Aerospace engineering. So congratulations, Jacob. If we could have all of the Governor's Scholars Program recipients come forward. The Governor's Scholar Program is a summer residential program for outstanding high school students in Kentucky who are rising seniors. Students who are selected attend the program without charge. The program's mission is to enhance Kentucky's next generation of civic and economic leaders. During the program, students are immersed in a high learning program which has 3 components: a focus area, that's a major or a subject of study; the general studies, which is an area of study assigned by the staff to challenge the scholars; and then the seminar portion. It's a discussion-based small group session. Faculty and staff also invite a variety of speakers and performers from a range of disciplines and pursuits to visit campus. Carefully organized field trips, special events, and a film series also contribute to the comprehensive educational atmosphere in which the scholars are challenged not only to examine, but more important, to nurture their sense of learning and leadership. In order to participate in the program, students must be nominated by their high schools and then compete on a statewide level. Selections for the program is highly competitive, with an application process similar to that of prestigious colleges and universities. In addition to an academic profile that includes difficulty of course load, GPA, and at least 1 standardized test score, the application requires an outline of all extracurricular activities of each student, a history of volunteer service, and a list of job positions held. Teacher recommendations include both quantitative evaluation and qualitative descriptions of the student's performance and potential. The final component of the application is an original essay. These students standing in front of you have been recognized as Governor's Scholars. First, Megan Curran. Ryan Cooper. Haley Hannon. Caden Hatchett. Joshua Johnson. Victoria Johnson. Laura Martin. Emma Mitmisser. I'm sorry, I apologize. Tess Neely. And Jordan Vallejo. Congratulations to all of you. Thank you. And our last recognition is Serena Hutchins. Okay, we'll go ahead. From every corner of the Commonwealth, Kentucky's most talented and creative high school students gather for 3 weeks each summer to learn and grow together at the Kentucky Center for the Governor's School of the Arts. Rising juniors and seniors in high school are offered an in-depth instruction in one of 9 artistic disciplines: architecture, design, creative writing, dance, drama, instrumental music, musical theater, news media, visual art, or vocal music. Each spring, students are selected for GSA, an honor that includes full tuition, room and board to attend the school, the opportunity to learn in a supportive community of distinguished mastered teachers, the chance to audition for scholarships before the nation's top colleges and universities, arts-related community service opportunities, the excitement of participating at the Student Performance and Exhibit Festival at the conclusion of the program, and college preparation and career counseling. During their 3-week stay on the campus of Center College in Danville, Kentucky, GSA students are immersed in a rigorous schedule of daily seminars, master classes, lectures, hands-on workshops, and field trips.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm going
While each student specializes in one art form, all students participate in structured interdisciplinary arts experiences designed to familiarize them with the joys and challenges of specialties other than their own. Upon completion of the program, students become part of an ever-growing alumni organization, gaining numerous performance and exhibit opportunities statewide, along with the access for funding through the Toyota Alumni Fund. Additionally, each fall, GSA alumni can participate in a college and career day featuring over 80 colleges and universities, with an opportunity for seniors to audition for their art form. Alumni are eligible for the GSA-specific scholarships offered by 30 colleges and universities from around the nation. This year, Ms. Serena Hutchins was selected to attend the Governor's School for the Arts. Congratulations, Serena.
Is anyone signed in for public comments?
Sorry.
Ms. Stewart Hopkins, you're eager to speak.
Yes, I am. I just wanted to say thank you to the board and the community for inviting Mountain Comprehensive Care to provide services here. I'm the community-based coordinator for the service programming that's been in your schools this year, as well as programming that's under development for the summer and adult services. So I just wanted, again, to thank you for the welcome reception we had at the schools, and to give you a little bit of insight as to our outreach in your community. We've had 272 referrals from your schools for our services. We are currently serving 231 students in Clark County through our school-based counseling program, our case management for children and families program, and our APRN medication management program. In just the month of April, we provided 551 services in the Clark County schools. So I'm here to speak to Section 9 of tonight's, or Section 16 of tonight's agenda, as a representative from our agency and as a proud community member for the work that Clark County has allowed us to do with our children and families. That's all.
Thank you. All right, next up is item number 3, Superintendent's Report. Same district updates, Mr. Christie.
Got a few updates here. Now, these are kind of bulleted, so we'll go through them quickly. The alternative assessment is complete in the district. K-Prep at the elementary testing is complete. K-Prep at Baker and Campbell is complete. They're working on makeups at this time. K-Prep on-demand writing test for juniors was today, and they have a makeup day for anyone who missed. That's tomorrow. Our site-based decision-making elections have started. They're being scheduled and being held in the schools for 2017 and 18. The Ready Fest is scheduled for July the 29th. That'll be out at the BCTC campus again this year. The district operation registration will be held at one location this year, and that's going to be at Campbell Junior High on August the 2nd and 3rd, and that will be, 2nd, 3rd, and the 8th from 10 o'clock to 6 o'clock. This year, we're going to be having, this summer, we'll be having 9 math teachers, and 1 principal will be attending the 5 days of CMP3 training. And that'll be from June 19th through the 23rd in Lansing, Michigan, at Michigan State University again this summer. The principal will be attending leadership and mentoring training for math, and the teachers will either attend the Going Deeper training for their grade level or special needs training for math. The teachers are from Baker Intermediate and Campbell Junior High, and the principal is an assistant principal at Baker Intermediate. Preschool will be having their promotion ceremonies tomorrow and Thursday. And that's tomorrow's at 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. and then the same on Thursday at 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. The preschool will have their field day on May the 19th, and that's going to be held this year at College Park from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Clark County Preschool has been awarded 3 quality improvement grants totaling $5,000. And this is for professional development, curriculum and screening, and community involvement. And as we come up with the plans for those, we'll report back on how that's what's going to take place with that. Clark County Preschool is continuing to screen students for the 2017-18 school year. And for those of you in the room, or those of you that may be watching on the live feed, if you need an appointment, you can call 859-744-1722 to set up an appointment for screening. All district and building level staffs are working together on the end of the year transitions in our special ed department. Special ed specific professional developments have been planned for this 2017-18 year school. And those are going to be planned, they're already planned for August. The migrant program summer camp, the title of it this year is Earth, Learn, Inspire. That's going to start on June the 5th and will be at Campbell Junior High. They've also started a Facebook page, so you can check them out there and like them on Facebook to receive the migrant updates via Facebook. The TEL survey is now active. You can get on and just Google TEL Kentucky, and you can get the Grant Clark County. You can look at the district as a whole and each of the individual scores. And I might add that we had a 96% participation rate, which is the highest that it's ever been in this district. And I will say too that I'm very pleased when you look at the things in that TEL survey, some things that we've made very deliberate plans to address, things like professional development that in the past have been problems. You'll see major increases in those survey results. There were I think the teachers have recognized that we do look at those TEL surveys and we do go back and use that information and put to use for them in their building. So those are available. I'm going to have you a copy in the next few days of it's kind of a sheet that shows you the progression from 2011, 13, 15, and 17. And it's pretty amazing when you go back and look at the changes, and with all the changes that we've been through as a district and where our staff feels that we are now. I would encourage you to look at that. I'll send you the link or a PDF of the form that I've got together. That's all I have.
Next is item number 4, Equity Council update. Ms. Miller, welcome.
Since I last gave you all an update, the Equity Council had really targeted focusing on mentoring programs for our students and thinking outside of the box of traditional interventions, and we had recommended some ways to do that using students mentoring other students, and Concord Elementary really took that idea and ran with it. Tara Pig and Jimmy Powell worked with Tammy Purcell, and FFA students came and did hands-on activities and embedded content. The students were doing activities with germination and seeds while they were then teaching them text features while reading the labels on the seed packages, and then the students made their own seed packages, and that continued through all 4 of the 4th grade classrooms. The Junior Beta Club at Conkright, they started their own tutoring in the morning, so students came in the building at, I'm looking for Ms. Bonfield to make sure I have my times right, at 7 and had their breakfast, but then they went to tutoring, and so they called them Beta Buddies, and the students chose whether they wanted to tutor other students in reading, math, spelling, or writing. And in one of their culminating activities, they did a sequential writing piece on how to eat an Oreo. And Ms. Mitchell, the Family Resource Center director at Conkright, shared that they had D&S students that participated in that program who now are AB students. I've been working with Sheila Hill, who is the founder of Sassy Frassy program, which I brought you all some information. She was in GRC in years past and worked collaboratively with Lisa Sharp, and then when Ms. Sharp left, they didn't have a contact, and so now she is reconnected with Aaron Cope, and Sassy Frassy is going to come back into GRC at the beginning of next school year. And I have a contact set up where she is going to have a conference call with Campbell to see if there are other programs associated with that can be offered to our middle school females. Are you all familiar with Sassy Frassy? It's a leadership program, mentoring and empowerment for young women. And I brought a handout if you all would like one. It's very brief. This afternoon, we looked at summer programs, potentially how we could have some mentoring activities, really just truly working on building relationships with kids who don't have positive role models and can't get to BCTC, can't get to College Park. And to do so, we invited some church leaders. I attend Christview Christian, and I contacted Forrest Hahn, whose wife also works in the district, and he reached out to some other members, and they met with us this evening back in the special education office, and it was probably the most productive meeting we've had in the 2 years that we have been meeting. And it resulted in us scheduling another meeting for May 30th, in which they have suggested that we look into the potential to write a grant. They suggested that we research the Clark County Ambition Grant and look to see if there's a way that we can actually get some money to fund some summer activities that would just promote relationship building and mentoring and some safe activities in low-income areas of our community.
Any questions? Thank you, Ms. Miller. Next up is 8th month attendance update, Mr. Holland.
Well, both times when I've come up here, I've been happy and proud to see some schools get recognized. And I know one particular person would make jokes that when they finally won the student attendance, that was one of the signs of the apocalypse coming. Well, I guess we all need to get ready. Congratulations to Shear Elementary for winning. And to take it a step further, if you remember last month, we actually honored Shear, which he chuckled with when he got the staff award for the second time. But now that's come back to be a very nice honor because of the 2 banners that we have in the district. They both are sitting proudly at Shear Elementary. So to take a look at it, Shear Elementary, 95.63, led the way in the 8th month. To date, August the 17th through April the 24th, when this was compiled, 93.87%.
Okay, thanks. Any questions, Mr. Holland? Okay. Next up is item number 6, overview district spring map scores. Ms. Considine.
Good evening. I hope you've had a chance to look over the tables.
Yes.
The first table, I think there may have been some confusion, so let me try to explain a little bit, because it says school, and it's blank, and I should have put Clark in there. Kind of, I guess, my old age is starting to affect me a little bit. But the first column is fall 2016, and when you see APP, that is apprentice. And then fall 16, you see prof, which is proficient. And then fall 16, distinguished. So then I think what I may do is I may move them side by side so that you can see fall 16 apprentice and spring 17 apprentice. Would that be helpful? I can do that for you. So you can kind of see, we did not participate in winter math as a whole. We used it for RTI purposes to test students to track some progression. I'm under the impression that we may go back to winter math. Is that what I'm hearing, gang? Go back to winter math?
Can you discuss the pros and cons of that? Well, last year we decided not to do it because we were getting new information on the tests.
Well, we were losing instructional time.
Right
before Christmas, between Thanksgiving and Christmas. But then I think when teachers didn't have that dipstick, they felt like then it was too long before March rolled around. Even though they were having students that were in the RTI process participate in the winter map, they felt like even students may have dropped and they didn't realize it. So it is paid for. What I try to do is I try to offer, I guess, options for teachers so that, for me, I don't want to lose instructional time. But if not testing doesn't allow you to know where your students are, then maybe we need to test. So at this point, just elementary. I don't know, Mr. Mouse, were you thinking about winter math for me? Okay. Mr. Howard?
Yes, ma'am, we did it this year.
You did it this year. Mr. Howard did it this year. So it looks like everybody's going to do winter math again. So that way we can have a midpoint. But I would highly recommend that we do it quickly and try not to spend a lot of time in the computer lab at Christmas, just because of the time of the year as well. We were fortunate that we didn't have a lot of snow days this year, so we regained, we didn't lose a lot of that January, February instruction, so which was kind of nice. Because we do test in March, just because we need that extra time to intervene. So if we have a lot of snow days in January and February, it does put us behind. But this year, we were pretty much on target time-wise. So that's that table. And then the next table.
So Brenda,
Yes.
how do I look at this first table and see how kids have progressed? Where do I look to see if a kid is in 4th grade now? Is that the 16 point for fall 2016? Well, it's a spring 2017. Is that the 25.2? And last year the group was the 21.7, and the year before it was the 16.1?
No, this is not a comparison.
Okay.
This is only going to compare.
Where do I get the comparison?
Well, I'm not doing that chart per table, but I can, if you would like to see that. It gets kind of wonky over time, because what happens is the colors, as those kids roll off, we pick up new groups, and then they don't necessarily progress down through the color scheme. And so once we filled that table up last year, we went from,
Right.
what was it, probably 3 or 4 year span, we would have to start over. And so that's kind of what we did. We started over with a new chart this year. But it is not the progression that you've seen in the past, where we're following 1st grade to 2nd grade to 3rd
Right.
grade. Yes.
So there's no way to do that without, or there's no way to
Sure.
present it, but,
I can bring it back to you next month. What I'll do is I'll lump off some of those early years.
right, so that we have our current, for our current 5th grade, 4th
Right.
grade, when they were.
3rd
you know,
grade. But my problem is that if I keep going back to when they were in kindergarten, I can't get it all on the same table. So at some point, I need to just start.
Well, will
at a
K
certain-
through 4 fit on the same table?
Yes. We can do that.
Okay. And then will 4, 5, 6 fit on the same table? So that 4 would be repeated?
Right.
Okay,
And
That would-
we'll try to get it with the color scheme going down.
okay.
But for this one, what I wanted you to see is what were our fall apprentice proficient distinguished numbers? What do you see in the spring? And that is based on the Kentucky Linking Study, which is a predictor. And then the next table is the percent of novice students. And we want to see, and on the first table, Ms. Hicks, you're going to want to see those numbers increase. You're going to want to see
Yes.
apprentice from fall. I mean, it could go up essentially in spring if you're moving your novice students into apprentice. But what you really want to see is you want to see a movement into proficient and distinguished in your spring year, in your spring testing. So for the next table with the percent of novice students, you want to see that decrease. From fall to spring. And Any questions regarding this table?
So in math, we didn't decrease our novice from fall to spring in any grade level except A.
Yes, and that was by 2/10. And we had seen lots of gains in math,
Yes.
so, not sure. And then for kindergarten, first grade, we really can't look at novice, apprentice, proficient, distinguished. We look at on grade level, based on the national norms, because they do not participate in the Kentucky linking study. And actually, the second grade, this year, when the linking study came out in February of 2016, they had removed second grade. So I'm still using the old numbers just because I hate to go back and say, let's not use second grade. So when they compared and got the congruency between K-Prep and math, they did not include second grade. And they try to do it about every year. I looked for them to do it this spring, but they did not. We're getting ready to transition test-wise with K-Prep, so I don't know how beneficial. Like this year, you know, a lot of changes are coming up. So this is, when you look at this individual school data, you're going to see that the first graders took math in the fall. Kindergarten doesn't take math until winter, right before Christmas. And then they both take it again in the spring. And this is a predictor of the students. They should be at grade level at the time that they took the assessment, the online assessment.
So do we want these numbers to be going up?
Yes.
And in kindergarten, yes, but in first grade, no. Is that what I'm seeing?
And then you're seeing 2 shears, and that is my mistake. The second shear should actually be Strode. It was loaded as Strode, but the header, when I changed it, it says shear. I was greatly confused. It took me about 45 minutes this morning to figure out why we had 2 shears, because I knew I hadn't created 2 shear tables. Ms. Whitesides had to come in and help me a little bit.
Must be your old age.
It is the old age. I'm starting to lose my mind. The commercial says if you're starting to lose your hearing, you know, you might want to, you know, it's dementia, and so it's kind of. So anyhow, on that last table, that is kindergarten and first grade, that is Strode's data. And then I included just the elementary school's novice, so that you could see that, because for Baker and Campbell, it's pretty evident in the table. So at least you're seeing their novice. Any questions?
So in years past, this has correlated reasonably well with K-12 testing.
Yes. And you know, a lot of the thing is, and I want you to think about this, and I'm not using this as an excuse, but when we test in fall and then when we test in spring, sometimes our populations change quite a bit. And you know, you're just seeing just a percentage. But schools are actually seeing the students that are transient, that are coming in, new students who may have been in another district, and you know, we didn't test them in the fall, but now they're showing up as novice for us in the spring.
So within our district, how much transiency are we having? Just within, you know, not kids moving in from another district, but kids moving
Moving
from
from school to
Conkright to
school.
Shearer or Justice to Conkright?
It's
Do we let kids stay where they
We
are?
do.
Okay.
We had, I mean, they do move within the district, but we do get children from outside of the district,
Right.
quite a bit. But the children that are within the district, it doesn't matter, they're already in those fall percentages.
Right. Okay.
Would you care to prognosticate on what's coming down the pike next year?
Well, when you see K-Prep scores this fall, they probably won't look anything like we're used to. We're not going to see apprentice proficient distinguished, is what I'm hearing. Not quite sure what it's going to look like. Student growth is going to be catch up. Let's see, what are the 3 words? Catch up, make up, move up. Yeah. So as soon as they begin
Always
to
a gimmick.
and it's always changing. And,
Don't do gimmicks.
they are revising the standards. So that's going to be, for 17, 18, we will test, but I don't look for, there'll be some pilots, but I don't really look for accountability next year. And I'm not quite sure what the reporting is going to look like this year, really.
I'm trying to figure that out from all the things I've been seeing.
Still a work in progress.
It's a work in progress, and we won't see distinguished schools. We're not going to see proficient schools. All of that is gone. We're going to see more of a dashboard. I think you saw it earlier, where it looks like your car, and you're going to be over here in the blue, and you don't really want to be in the red. But we'll still. Trust me, there'll be a ranking. We can't get away from it.
Will there be any just straightforward reporting without gimmicks?
No.
Can't get me started.
How about changes in standards? Because Senate Bill 1 really rewrote a lot of things in regards to education.
They're getting ready to revise ELA, which is English Language Arts, and math. And one thing that I think you'll be happy about is cursive writing is going to be back in the standards. And I think the legislators listened, and KDE. And you're going to see some tweaks in the standards. I hope not big changes, because with big changes, it's big rollout, new training, and new understanding of what was there previously, what's going to be there, what do we take out. And as we work on curriculum maps, it's very frustrating for teachers if we complete a curriculum map or a pacing guide and then we have a revision. But there's going to be some revisions. So we're just going to wait to see. There is the commissioner's email. You can go on. You can kind of see some of those revisions and have some input. I would recommend that everybody look at them. I'm personally pleased that we're bringing cursive writing back, because I do feel like that our children need to be able to write in cursive. And I even would say I would like for them to read legibly. Manuscript. I'm an old second grade teacher. I go way back. I feel like that if you can't read someone's work, it is very hard for them to fill out a job application. So I do think that we're going to see more of a holistic approach. Possibly you'll see themes may come back. If you've been around long enough in education, you know the circle goes all the way around, comes back, and we'll probably get ready to circle back around again. The opportunity and access is the one that worries me the most, that area. Any more questions?
The cursive writing won a lot of board members.
It's yours.
Non-physician.
Do you need tutoring?
A lot.
I do, that's for sure. So.
Well, if I could teach Mr. Howard to print.
Yes.
Well, I can sort of print with the cursive.
We're working on it, aren't we?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next is item number 7, consider approval to expand the current community eligibility program to add Phoenix, Campbell Junior High School, and GRC as a pilot program for the 2017-18 school year.
Well, I come to you very excited tonight to let you know that this year the CEP program was very successful, thanks to the backing and participation of all the central office staff and the principals and teachers out in the schools. They made it a great program, so I am here to ask for an extension to go ahead and add Phoenix, Campbell, and GRC. One of the things that I will point out that was in the narrative was the participation rate. I know that that's a big thing that comes up when we talk about CEP, is did the participation go up? And yes, it did. It went up 7.22% from when we weren't CEP. And that was district-wide, so that does also include the 2 schools that were not CEP. And then the other thing that's notable is the percentage. Last year when I came to you, the district, when I was putting my numbers together in the table that I added onto your attachments, the percentage last year of our identified students was 50.24. This year, our percentage of identified students went up to 53.69. And so that's how come we were able to include the other schools and still come out at a good percentage of getting reimbursed free. Now, the other thing that I said in here, which is notable too, is that this year our percentage of free rate reimbursement was 90.4, which was great. It was fantastic. That was a fantastic rate. By going with adding all the schools, I do want you to know that that free percentage rate for this next coming year by adding those schools will be 85 point, it's in here somewhere.
92.
Yeah, 85.92, there it is. So it is a little bit lower, but in talking with several other districts that have gone either full CEP or partial CEP at way less than that percentage, like 80%, 81%, even 79%, they have been very successful as long as their participation rates stayed steady or increased. And the biggest thing with that, with the participation rates, I have to say, is with breakfast. Us adding breakfast carts, the principals letting us do grab and goes, that kind of thing is what really makes this program successful. And so I have already we started grab and go at Campbell this year just to kind of see how it was going to go. And of course, those kids, the ones that weren't free or reduced, you know, we still had paid kids. We saw an increase in our numbers there from having the grab and go cart there in the foyer. And then I talked with Mr. Bowen about doing a second chance breakfast at the high school. All the data shows that second chance works better at the high school, which means in between first and second period, we would have breakfast carts set up because the school's so big in different areas spread out throughout the school, and give the kids that chance in between first and second to run through, grab and go on to the classroom. So that's been very successful, and that's what we're going to try to implement to make CEP successful at the high school.
And in general, the more meals you serve, the better the financials, right?
Yes, yes.
Something we've been tracking to get that in our monthly packets.
And I know, yeah, every month you've been able to see how we've gone more from last year to this year. The numbers have been really,
First
really
month or
great.
two was sluggish after that. Really picked up.
I think everybody just needed to catch on to that every, breakfast and lunch were free, and any student could come and get, and then when we started implementing grab and go, I will tell you, that was the success, was because we started seeing the numbers really go up at breakfast when we started the grab and go breakfast.
So what's in a grab and go breakfast?
It still has to be a reimbursable meal, but it's something that's not messy to take to the classroom. If we have to offer milk, so if they want milk, the milk is there, but it could be a cereal bar, it could be, it has to have a fruit, a grain, and then the milk. So whatever we can put in there, it could be a muffin, a cereal bar, sometimes it's the whole grain Pop-Tart, anything that we can do that just can fit in a little bag that meets the reimbursable meal that they could just take and eat easily so that it doesn't cause a big mix.
And the funding
Yogurts
source,
in there, we have like little yogurts, different things.
the funding source on this, when is that established? I mean, how secure will that be, since there's obviously been a change in administration up in Washington?
I didn't get to go to DC this year, but I have heard a lot about that, and at this point, we can't ever say for sure, but at this point, no one who went to DC and talked to our legislators felt that this program was in jeopardy.
I would say in 6 years on the school board, federal funding for school lunches has not been mentioned once. The
So,
6 goes back to.
I know, like you said, we can never say for sure, but I would
Other
be
than
shocked
that,
if
some
they
of the
took this program away, because it has been so successful around the country.
But yeah, I would say it's pretty safe. Other questions from Ms. Lowry? And I think when we first approved this, we did it for the elementaries in Baker to try to figure out where we were, because there was some question about free and reduced lunch in the district, and whether that was going to, make financial sense, because anything, if there was an issue with that, we would have to make that up out of general fund. But Food service fund is still pretty healthy, and I think the program's demonstrated its ability to carry its own weight, so.
And I think, again, when we did it last year, we weren't exactly sure, and I wasn't sure either. When you try something for the first time, you hope that it's going to be successful, and thankfully it was. I mean, I've been very, very pleased with the participation and the reimbursement rates that we've gotten being on the program.
Any other discussion? On a motion, is in order to consider approval to expand the current community eligibility program to add Phoenix Academy, Campbell Junior High School, and GRC High School as a pilot program for the 2017-2018 school year.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Ms. Ritchie,
Second.
second by Mr. Carrot. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Ms. Lowry.
Thank you.
Let's see, next up is item number 8. Consider approval of escrow of carry forward 2017-2018, and this is school activity funds, I should mention.
Good evening. I'm not Alicia. She's watching though. She texts me. She's home with the baby. I hope you've read your agenda item request form, because if you have, you're going to know what this is for. This is for funds that weren't spent in the fiscal year to see if they can carry them over for projects for the next year. And the schools have asked for permission.
Our board policy says that these are all Section 6 funds, correct me if I'm wrong, but any Section 6 funds which are not spent by each school go back to the district unless the school requests that they keep it and give us an idea of what they're going to spend it on, which all the schools have done. So any other questions or discussion? One thing I would comment, it would be helpful, some of them had amounts, some of them didn't. It would be helpful from my standpoint to know, since Section 6 funding is something that comes up and it's a board allocation, what the exact amount of carryover per year would be from year to year. That might be helpful. I don't think it's going to affect my vote now, but it would be helpful to know what's there.
I'll send that on.
I received those. I thought it went to everybody. Did you not send it to everybody, Mr. Christie?
Might have been in one of today's barrage.
It was.
All right.
I requested and received, but I didn't check to see if everyone was
And I
on.
thought I copied everybody on everything, but I may have missed one. I'll send it.
Okay, thank you. All right, any other discussion? If not, a motion is in order to consider approval of escrow of carry forward Section 6 funds for 2017-2018 for all schools as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Peredo,
I'll second.
seconded by Mr. Heisel. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Item 9 is out. Item number 10, consider approval of student fees for the 2017-2018 school year.
Consider. I've got it. You've got it. Any student fees and charges shall be adopted by the board, including any student activity fees
Right.
and membership dues.
There was some discussion about these fees with the copier costs being picked up by the district, why the fees were still there. And Mr. Christie, you had
Yeah, I would recommend that we look at and I put a paper in front of each of your seats there that shows how much the copier lease is per building, and the amount in the third column is the amounts of funds that schools have collected on fees. I've met with each of the principals individually and discussed this, and we're in agreement that if the board would allow me to pay the lease payments for the schools, that's just the lease payment portion of the copying costs only. They still pay their per clicks. The lease, that, and then set that money aside. The schools have all agreed that they would eliminate student fees and the back-to-school needs lists that you see posted at Walmart and those stores, and they would pick those costs up out of the fees. Now, when you look on there, it's going to take a little more work. Baker is the only one who actually collected more in fees than what their lease agreement is. So I would ask some for a little, if you do approve this, I'd ask for a little ability to work on that and maybe pull some from either the LRC, maybe the LRC and maybe some of the board, and put that toward Josh to make it equitable. I think that's in addition with the free 2 meals free, to be able to stand in front of the public and say that at Clark County next year, we will not be sending home needs lists to students for $100 or more to go and buy Kleenexes and paper towels and all the school supplies. I think, we have a lot of families that struggle to get clothes for kids to get them to school, let alone buying sanded markers and things like that. So I think this would be a huge step forward for the district in moving toward a true free public education.
I'm in agreement with that, so. They would make you mayor then? No. That would be very, very popular, because that's something we hear every fall.
Well, I've witnessed it in lines at the stores and seen it, and I know what it does. I know what those costs are. I've done it, I had to do it myself. I know what they are, and I would ask for that, the amount of the $125,256, and work with the principals to make that equitable to buildings in order, and set this fund aside that is for purchase of supplies. It's not to go toward some other things. We'll make sure that the supply list is met first.
So what we're talking about at this point in time is essentially a $125,000 hit to the budget.
It's already budgeted in your budget you're going to see next.
Okay. I
Now,
haven't seen it yet.
okay, you're going to find it in your budget. You're going to find next week that you have about $370,000 more in revenues than you do in expenses. Now, I've already budgeted in there to pay for Lexia, all the programs that you did this time, that's budgeted in there. I also budgeted to do this. So if you choose tonight not to do this, then you could take an additional $125,000 and add it to your revenues, which would take you up to a higher amount of revenues over expenses. So that will.
Has a calculation been made of what the supply cost is going to be that the schools will be taking on?
Nothing other than looking at it and looking at the amounts that we're talking about at school, that we can do it.
Then the other half of the copier thing is the lease is $10,000, but that's actually way down from where it used to be. I think when what was approved on the copier savings was probably somewhere around $80,000. The schools are already enjoying.
Should be if they're not copying.
Well, just on the lease payments, they're already $80,000 to the head, to the benefit. I think in terms of not making students provide supplies, I think that's a good idea. I personally would like to wait until the budget to look at the eliminating the fee part. But that's just my perspective on it.
What can we do to decrease the amount of copier expenses for the board and central office? Can we do that?
One thing that was mentioned earlier tonight, and I think we're getting much nearer to the point of not printing 5,000 school handbooks. I think we start to look at making that available online and just have much fewer number of those printed for those who may need those and handed out. I think that would save tremendously.
Maybe we can have our governor of scholars make a GRC app. I'm sure we got some programmers in there. So. Actually, that's a special challenge for Mr. Parks. What do you think? I don't know if he cuts out. But yeah, I would like to not see handbooks printed. So there's a way to make that available online. I think we can pursue that.
This day, we're getting closer to making them available online than what we ever have been in the past. And maybe we have to have a year or two of doing it both ways. But I think we could dramatically reduce our copy.
Yes, so that's where the lion's share of that is. That's probably
And all those handbooks are done at the district's expense here. That's not, the schools don't do any of that. We do all that here at Central Office.
You can always say we distribute it, it's available online at this website. If you don't have internet access, please call central office and we'll print you a copy. So let's see when we print out. How's that sound?
That's what we do, that's what we do with the employee handbooks,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
online.
Yep. How many do you print out a year?
Very, net, hardly ever any. Because they sign off online too.
Okay.
So are there two components to what we're talking about? Number one is the approval of the fees that's listed here, and then a second component is the waiving of certain of these fees? Or do I misunderstand what we're talking about?
The fee, as far as I can understand, the
Yes,
fees
we
are the
eliminate some of those
fees.
fees.
But what we do, I think what we're talking about is what to do with the savings from the copier.
Like this,
In
GRC,
this-
$65 student.
That would go away. Your
But on-
$40 Baker student fee would go away.
Okay.
Your orchestra.
Well,
Any
No, it-
extracurriculars is not going to go away. Those are
Right.
things that the students choose to participate in. So the extracurriculars would remain the same. At Baker, it would be your startup supply list and your student fees of $40 a person. At the Beta and STLP and the honor societies, those things, the fees that are set there are basically set at the national level, and we have to pay that for the students to become a member. That all goes to the national.
So is orchestra going away?
That would stay if I'm understanding this correctly, because that's an extracurricular activity. So,
Orchestra would stay, archery, art club would stay.
Is orchestra extracurricular? It's not during the instructional day? Does orchestra meet during the instructional day?
Yes.
so that would be a fee everyone's subject to, correct?
If they're in orchestra,
That's a class.
it's a class.
It's not a.
I mean, are they still gonna have to pay a class fee?
No.
Okay. So the orchestra class
Orchestra
fee
would go
goes
away.
away?
Class fee would go away.
so on this
Your Beta
list,
Club, STLP, chess, science club, math club, those things would still stay if they're.
So the
ordered.
things that meet after school or outside the instructional day,
Right.
those fees stay.
Right.
If it's during the instructional day, there is no fee associated with it.
In these type things. Now, your athletics, we're not there in athletics. Right.
well,
Yeah.
so are you, on this list, the very first one, $40,
Gone.
there's a proposal that that's gone. What else is proposed to be gone?
The Baker Orchestra is gone,
25 gone.
25.
The rest
The
of it-
archery, art, those are all extracurriculars. Academic team, Beta, STLP, chess club, science club, math club. Odyssey of the Minds, those would stay. Those are extracurriculars. That's at Baker.
So on Baker, just the first two, it
And
would
the
be part of the
beginning, and the
proposal.
beginning of the year needs list that they send out.
How about for Campbell, what would come off that list? How about the orchestra there?
Band, does band meet during the school day?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
So does that $50 fee come off?
yes. Baseball wouldn't, basketball, cheerleading, chess, dance, football, world language
Does world language meet during the school day?
would come up. World language binder. Does it say binder?
Yes.
So, going down the list, the only thing that's come off so far in the order we've taken it is band.
And school fees of $40.
Yes.
World language binder
And how about the orchestra there?
and orchestra.
Okay.
Elementary,
Anything that would
school
club.
fees.
School fee,
And the
Which one's the school fee on there?
It's the second one, Planners Newsletter. Folders.
planners.
Oh, that's the
newsletter
school fee?
folders. And is orchestra and festival, red choral, is that during the school day? Music class, is that during the school
Yes.
day?
So
So
that's
those would come off.
everything that they don't need.
And how about Choral
the
Festival?
recorder
registration?
fee stays because they buy those and they get to keep them. Now, if
Oh,
they
okay.
don't buy them, they're provided and they take them back. So
Okay.
that would stay, that's an extra,
That's,
they get to keep them
those if they buy it.
if they buy it.
And how about the Choral Festival registration? Does that stay?
Choral festival registration, principals, we
Elementary.
didn't talk, elementary, we didn't talk about the choral festival registration. Tell me,
I'm interpreting that as part of the $15 is for the choral fee and part of it's for
Festival
festival registration.
who's it, who's, I see one shaking their head, they don't, they like you don't have it. Mark? The choral registration fee,
If my students go, I pay for that.
it's off.
So it's off.
It's
Okay.
off.
All right.
And in the elementary, is that beginning of the school year needs list, that's not listed on there, but that's,
Okay.
GRC.
The 65 for student fees.
All. Parking permit would be reduced to $5
Why?
to keep some student with skin in the game, they're a little buying. If you don't, and you know there's no charge, then there'd be parking permits on every vehicle that they lose them, so there needs to be a little bit of, that's a privilege.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would
I'll
actually leave it at 10.
Yeah,
myself.
yeah, my gut feeling says leave it at 10.
I'd leave it at
Leave it
10.
10.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, parking is a privilege.
Right.
Not a
Should
right.
increase by $5 for parking.
All of those in that top, with the exception of the parking permit, all those in that top block go away.
Oh, really?
That's not a bad idea.
I'm sorry, Project Lead Way, program certification, yeah, the Project Lead Way would stay, that $20 would stay, and the parking permit would stay. The others come off, the others are class.
There's some certification fee.
Yeah. Now, those below, there's some, are all national affiliations where there's fees are set for the school, they don't set those, and it all goes to them. So all those clubs below would stay.
Okay. All right, so to recap, let's go back to Baker. So the $40 fees for all Baker students would come off, the $25 fee for Baker orchestra participants would come off, everything else stays. For Campbell, the world language binder comes off, the orchestra comes off, the school fees come off, and the band comes off, correct? Elementary school fees, they all come off except Beta Club, or no, the two $15 fees come off. The quarter fee and Beta Club fees stay. And at GRC, everything comes off that top block except the parking permit and Project Lead the Way.
All of them stay.
Okay. All right, so that's the amended fee menu for 2017, 2018.
That is if you pass using that.
No. So we're actually considering two different things, so I guess we probably need to vote on this.
well, you mean you were gonna vote on the copier and then, is that, I mean, you'll need to do the copier first, because if we're not gonna pay for it, they need their fees.
Right. So would somebody like to word a motion on the copy of report?
I move that the Board of Education / district pay the copier lease amount for schools in the district for the 2017-18 school year and that certain school fees be eliminated.
Due to that cost savings.
Or that you allow to use the savings?
And that the savings from
The leases.
schools paying the leases would be used to eliminate certain fees for the schools, for students at those schools.
Okay. Motion's on the table by Ms. Six. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Ms. Ritchie. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries
Opposed.
oh. So motion carries 4-1 with Ms. Six, Ms. Ritchie, Mr. Parado, and Dr. Kudak in favor, and Ms. Heisel opposed. Okay. So next voting item would be the student fees. So the motion would be in order to approve the student fees as amended.
I move that we approve the student fees for the elementary schools, Baker, Campbell, and the high school as amended during discussion.
Motion by Ms. Six.
Second.
Second by Ms. Ritchie. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
So that motion is also 4-1 with Ms. Hicks, Ms. Ritchie, Mr. Parado, Dr. Kudak in favor, and Mr. Heisel opposed. Okay. All right. Let's see. Repeat that.
This one is me.
Next up is item number 11, which is approval of employment of teachers with emergency certification for the 2017-18 school year.
That's strictly for our substitute teachers. We have to get a board order number before we can hire for next year. That's not for any other teachers in the district. Anytime we try to bring somebody with an emergency certification, it's very rare, and we bring that to you all before we would ever do that. The last one we did was a teacher of the visually impaired.
Right. Remember that.
So this is strictly for hiring of substitute teachers.
How often does it happen for substitute teachers? Is this a frequent occurrence? Or?
We have to do this every year. Is that what you're
Right.
asking me?
I was wondering just how many substitutes we have with emergency certification.
Probably about half.
Okay.
And typically, it's kids that are finished 2 years of college, because they have to have 64 college hours and a 2.5 GPA.
Okay.
So typically, it's those kids that are still in school.
Okay.
But most of ours are, a lot of them are certified people that want a job.
Okay. Okay, any questions from Ms. Ryan or further discussion? If not, a motion is in order to consider approval of employment of teachers with emergency certification for the 2017-18 school year.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Parado,
Second.
second by Ms. Hicks. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next up is item number 12, Ms. Ryan.
It is the third CATS offer of assistance, and the letter is attached that we've accepted the first two, and this is the third offer. We have to agree to abide by the FCC guidelines if we take the offer.
Right.
And it is, what's it, 24,000?
24,184. Have any idea, you're not going to know what the fund balance in escrow is for Ms. Ellis. would know that.
Alicia?
Hi, Alicia.
Text us, Alicia, if there's a problem.
If you can just email.
The fund balance.
Yeah, just what the total fund balance for CATS escrow.
For CATS escrow. Got it.
Basically, that's got to be used for technology, so.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions from Ms. Ryan or discussion? All right, if not, a motion is in order to approve escrowing the CATS third offer of assistance in the amount of $24,184.
I move that we escrow the kids' third offer of assistance in the amount of $24,184.
Motion by Ms. Hicks,
Second.
second by Ms. Ritchie. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next up is item number 13, consider approval of KEDC membership agreement in the amount of $2,557.
That is our co-op that we belong to, that we do lots of trainings, and this is just an annual renewal.
That's a good question. One of the items, the third from the bottom, is salary surveys and ranking reports with online access. Have you ever utilized that tool along?
We have that, we look at that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that also, when you're in that KDC, that puts you in their purchasing co-op.
They offer free trainings that, not, I guess you couldn't call them free, but for no extra fee, we can go and do the trainings there. It's very affordable compared to others.
All right, any other questions for Ms. Ryan or discussion? If not, a motion is in order to consider approval of KEDC membership for the 2017-18 school year in the amount of $2,557.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Heisel. Second. Second by Mr. Parrott. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next up is number 14. Consider approval of the additional 2017-18 instructional and extra services at GRC High School.
This was, if you look at your attachment, we went all the way down to the band accompanist. The new additions are strictly for band and to be covered by the band boosters.
Is that legal? I mean, does that meet Red Book guidelines for boosters to pay
As long as
salaries?
the money comes here,
Comes here.
the checks are written through the,
Okay,
they can't write the checks
okay.
themselves.
And I'm just the bearer of the news because the high school asked to have this put on here. And the band director asked for that.
The net effect on our budget is zero. This
We
is
should
probably
not
just
affect
a,
our budget. We're not going to do it if they don't have the money.
this is for a more straightforward and actually probably more compliant Red Book way to do
It
it.
is more compliant. Probably the way we should be doing it.
That's another way of putting it.
All right, any other questions for Ms. Ryan or discussion? If not, a motion is in order to consider approval of the additional 2017-2018 instructional and extra services at GRC High School for the 2017-2018 school year.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Parado,
Second.
second by Ms. Hicks. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Okay, next up is consider, or actually, thank you, Ms. Ryan.
Thank you.
Welcome, Ms. Mann. Next up is approval of the Clark County Preschool and Kentucky River Foothills Head Start Service Contract.
Good evening. I've shared with you the copy of the service contract. There's some adjustments, Ms. Hicks, that have been done concerning kind of the back and forth language of whether it's Clark County Board of Ed or Clark County school system, so that we have done that. Do you have any questions for me?
Are there any changes from last year's contract?
There is a financial change, and there is a change as far as there's a reduction of one teacher. However, the financial difference is a total of $83,500, and that is an adjustment from where they had covered the cost of a teacher and an assistant that was added on due to growth. So basically what we're doing is that because at the beginning of the year, our enrollment is smaller, we're adjusting, and then as enrollment then continues to grow, we will pursue to add on a classroom to address the students that we need to.
We had the agreement with him that first one we had on, come back and hit, so we get that back. If we grow, we get that back. And I might add also in there, we do negotiations, he's paying the lease on the additional classroom, mobile classroom. And we reduced the number of students, or we increased our number, but decreased the numbers that are in generation to 20, so we could compete on that.
Because they started with 197 last year, and it's 170 this year. Or in the two contracts.
Correct.
So we didn't count those good.
So the net effect on the budget of cost.
Cost to us?
Yes.
We're going, it's less this year than it was last year.
We do generate funds via students and their eligibilities per the as well as through, services for students with disabilities. So we're servicing our 4-year-olds through income and then addressing the needs of students with disabilities. The board right now, as in taking consideration of when we start the year with a decreased enrollment, we have kind of reduced our expenditures when it comes to salaries. And then therefore, once as our enrollment increases, we will then address the needs of students. And it is a cost of savings for us as far as we are not having excess cost at the beginning while serving less students.
And again, as that enrollment grows, if the enrollment grows to warrant another teacher, which it probably will, he has agreed to pay that teacher and the assistant.
And the assistant.
And the assistant. If we grow our enrollment.
Ms. Hicks, I can see you have a question.
Okay, if the enrollment increases after school begins, we pick up the cost of the teacher?
No.
Okay.
We'll hire another teacher and he will reimburse us.
Okay,
We'll pay for it.
okay.
That's that one less teacher that's
Right.
only because of the
Because,
job.
right, because their enrollment to begin with is less than it was
Until
this
we
year.
get some more
Okay.
screened and enrolled.
So if they get more, they pay for that teacher?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Okay. Other questions or discussion?
And did you say, Mr. Christie, that the formulas that were not on the...
Transportation, it's the same.
It's the same, it just
It's
was
the
not
same
on
as it has
last
been,
year's
that's not
contract?
changed.
Okay,
We just didn't include it, but we did this year.
okay, thank you.
You'll see that from now on.
Any other questions or discussion?
Oh, is the preschool director the same as the preschool principal?
Actually, no, ma'am.
Okay,
I'm the director of the preschool. However, Mr. Loscheider is the preschool principal, which at one time we referred to as the preschool coordinator.
okay. Okay, because on here, on the form to be signed, it said preschool director. I didn't know if that meant the preschool principal or another
That
person.
would be me now.
Okay.
They sent us an email. You must have missed it.
It went to my house.
I went back and looked and every one of them.
I know, all of them. So the only other one I saw was the one that I had asked you to send to work, so that's okay. I'm sorry to ask some of those questions again. I haven't
That's,
been.
I'd rather us address it and make sure that we're clear as opposed to being in muddy water.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, Judy?
No, because the others have been answered in the discussion. And I'll read the emails when I get home.
All right. If no other questions or discussion, the motion is in order to consider approval of the Clark County Preschool Kentucky River Foothills Head Start Service contract as presented.
I move that we approve the Clark County preschool contract and between the Clark County Preschool and the Kentucky River Foothills Head Start service. It's a service contract?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. For the 2017-2018 school year.
Motion by Ms. Hicks. Second. Second by Mr. Parrott. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next up is the Mountain Comprehensive Care Memorandum of Agreement.
Just to let you know that the memorandum agreement is in essence the same as the one that was presented last year. Other than pretty much the date change, there was one change from mental health therapist to mental health associate, which is all encompassing based on kind of certifications.
I didn't see any other changes. Questions or discussion? If not, a motion is in order to approve the Mountain Comprehensive Care Contract Memorandum of Agreement for 2017-2018.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Parado.
Second.
Second by Ms. Ritchie. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And then the Bluegrass Comprehensive Care Memorandum of Agreement.
Once again, other than the school year changes, that's been the only thing.
I did see some changes on this one versus last year, because I remember there was some contention on this last year and some discussion. So there's a clause in there about corporate confidentiality, which probably passes legal muster and needs to be there. And then there's an indemnity clause. Bluegrass shall indemnify, hold harmless, and defend board and its employees, agents, and representatives from any and all liability claims, demands, causes of action, damages, judgments, costs, and fees arising from or related to the acts or omissions of Bluegrass or its agents, servants, employees, representatives of the provision of services under the agreement or this addendum. So.
And that was a result of the inquiry of our board attorney.
Right.
And that when I say that there wasn't significant change, I'm saying that this is a representative of the addendum that then occurred after that inquiry.
In general, hold harmless clauses are good if somebody's holding us harmless, not the other way around. So. Okay. All
Are
right.
you okay with the contracts, Mr. Attorney?
You know, I guess the only thing that I saw was that it said it was going to expire June 30th, 2017. It's not really envisioned to be that short, is it? Should
I
say
think that
18.
was an oversight, sir.
Just to be
Thank you
sure.
for catching that.
Sure. It is what it is.
That one got past you, Judy.
No, I saw it. It's in the fine print at the bottom. Do you see the time on my emails?
Yeah.
Well, I will make that change when I sign it if you guys approve it. So. All right. Any other discussion? If not, a motion is in order to consider approval of Bluegrass Comprehensive Care Memorandum of Agreement as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Let's see. So there's motion by Mr. Parado,
Second.
second by Ms. Ritchie. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
It's not in here, so if we can get that changed before it's signed.
I will have that done.
Yeah.
Before Mr. Stump starts, just for your information, the CATS fund balance is about $150,000. So thank you, Scarlett and Alicia.
With the last thing we approved.
Was that Alicia texting you?
No, she texted Scarlett, and Scarlett texted me.
How big was the baby?
About 7.5, was it? Was that right? Little early.
Yeah, I thought she was.
We predicted it. We knew.
Okay. All right, next up is item number 18, consider approval of 2017-18 contractual agreement with Clark County GIS Board in the amount of $32,000.
It's that time of year to consider whether or not you want to engage in this contract again in the 17-18 school year with the GIS program. As we discussed last year when we considered this contractual agreement, the board asked how much we were taking advantage of the mapping services that were available to us. So early in the year, we arranged for training for all of our principals to come in and have Steve Berry address all the principals to give them a good idea of all of the services that agency can provide to them. I've included a list that he's provided to us of the services that he's provided throughout the course of the year and the different programs in the different areas throughout the course of the year. He's also informed me that we still have an opportunity to ask for any assistance from the Kentucky Geographic Alliance to come in and train teachers, public school teachers, on how to utilize mapping services and programs in their curriculums. Also, I note that Pam Whitesides has used the mapping service in the district most recently to do a comprehensive across the district lesson at the elementary levels on comparing populations in Montgomery and Clark and cities and the county areas and using that for instruction as well. So in summary, I think that we've this year expanded our availability to the services that they offer there. I certainly expect next year that we'll expand even further as teachers become more aware of what's available. But certainly this year we've used it to a much more significant degree than we did last year. Also, what still stands is all of the services that it provides to us for our transportation department, as I shared with you last year, and that's for our mapping services, how we route our buses, how we fill our buses, how we know where our bus stops are going to be. All of that is interconnected with gosh, the software just slipped my mind. Edulog and Infinite Campus. I'm letting us know how, so we don't overload our buses, so we know where our stops are at. And
so we know how the best route of buses. We still utilize that significantly in that arena.
Question, perhaps I should ask this earlier, if you don't know, that's fine. Do we have the ability, and Mr. Christie, you might also know, if I'm a prospective elementary, if I've got a child I'm new to the community, trying to figure out what elementary school I'm going to go to, do we have something on the website that I could type in my address and it'll tell me what elementary school district I'm in?
On our website, I don't know. I
The
think
map is interactive. You don't type in the address, but you just hover over it, and then it tells you what district.
So I can go on our website and find that
There's a
already.
link called District Maps. And it's under that.
Cool.
Then we
So
also
if we didn't,
post
then maybe they could. do
maps
that.
at our central office and our transportation department that clearly indicate any current regions or districts for each of our schools. So, I mean, we're utilizing it to the capacity that we feel we can. And, well, actually, I think we can utilize it even more, and we'll try to do that next year with our principals and teachers.
And the price is the same, right?
$32,000, same as it was last year.
I think we get good mileage out of the service.
And we're getting more.
We had sticker shock last year. I remember there was a fairly lengthy discussion about that. So.
And it also is good community partnership. There's a lot of agencies, other agencies that are involved in this, and we're partnering with them to continue those services throughout our community, not just for the public school system.
All right. Any other questions from Mr. Stump or discussion? All right. Motion's order to consider approval of the 2018 contractual agreement with the Clark County GIS Board in the amount of $32,000.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Heisel.
Second.
Second by Mr. Parrott. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next up is 19, which is the first and second pay applications from insulated roofing contractors for the Campbell Roofing Project in the amount of $189,878. I wish it was $188.
Yeah, that's optimistic thinking. Well, I'm pleased to inform you that we now have brand new gutters and metal stripping around the entire perimeter of Robert D. Campbell Junior High School. All new downspouts, guttering. The project did come in at what it was originally quoted for on the original BG. None of the contingency funds had to be used. There was no change orders had to be requested on this particular project. So that amount will be reimbursed to the project, and that was in the amount of $9,493.90. So you'll see in the next column over on your closeout form that the entire project was reduced by that contingency amount. So we're asking that since the project is now complete, it's been punched, the punch list has been addressed, that we pay both pay application number 1 and number 2 so we can proceed with the closeout of the project.
Questions for Mr. Stump or further discussion? If not, a motion is in order to consider approval of the first and second pay applications of insulated roofing contractors of Campbell Roofing Project in the amount of $189,878.
I'll make that motion.
Ms. Movers Ritchie,
Second.
second by Mr. Parrott. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next up is item number 20, which is the pay application for insulated roofing contractors for the maintenance facility roof project in the amount of $172,839.95.
Okay,
Is this the ATC building or the other maintenance facility?
This is the previous ATC building and the building that maintenance is currently housed in.
Okay.
I don't know what to call that building either, Judy.
Okay.
We might need to get a name for it. I don't know what to call it. But yes, it's that building.
naming rights for that building.
Yeah, right.
Naming rights?
Dr. Crothers.
Okay, so this project is now complete. We've done a final walkthrough last week. We're not at the point where we're asking for the complete payout of the project, but a significant portion of that, we still need to do punch and do some follow-up with that. So the remaining balance for the project would be asked to be paid for next month after we finish the punch out. This project was a little different than the first project in that we asked the board in March for a change order. When they did the infrared scans on the roof, they found more area that was damaged than what they anticipated and some asbestos which had to be removed. So we came to you in March and asked for a $22,830.14 change order to address those needs that would come out of your general fund. The final result of the project resulted in about, actually $10,875 in savings that we were able to negotiate and save through different aspects of the project. The total asbestos abatement and removal of the material that was damaged was $20,850.36. So the offset of the $10,000 in savings and the $20,000 in asbestos resulted in a net add to the project of $9,975.36. Fortunately, we had $10,414.69 in the contingency for that project. So the contingency that was in that project was enough to offset the extra costs, leaving us with $439.33 in that contingency fund in that BG. So the good news is that we didn't have to use any of the money that we asked the board to approve in March for the change order, the $22,830.14. So the project came in under budget at $439.33.
I was looking for the BG1 that was associated with that. Can you tell me what date we passed it on?
It was February.
February 2017?
Yeah. If my memory serves me correct. Because we did the change order in March. February meeting?
Before.
Let's see if I have a copy of that.
It wasn't on February.
I think the gutter project and Campbell project were approved at the same time that the maintenance roof was approved about a few months earlier.
Oh, yeah,
Waiting
you're
on the
correct.
weather.
Yeah, you're right. Maintenance roof was a little bit earlier.
I can try to get that over.
Might have been August of last year.
So we're asking the board to pay the entire project balance with the exception of $35,453.94, which will be asked to be paid for in June after we verify the final figures of the project.
So give me your numbers. What was your number, the 35,000 number again exactly?
The remaining balance after this payment would be $35,453.91. And under this payment, $172,839.95.
Okay. And the contingency left over for that is going to be $439.
That's correct.
Okay.
And we don't have to use your change order request.
Okay.
$22,000.
All right. It all adds up to me. So any other questions or discussion? If not, a motion is in order to consider approval of pay application number 1 to Insulated Roofing Contractors for the maintenance facility roof project in the amount of $172,839.95.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Peridot,
Second.
second by Ms. Richard. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And then item number 21, pay application of 1 Insulated Roofing for the Campbell Junior High partial re-roof project.
Okay, let me just back up before I start this project and inform the board that the gutter project that I asked you to approve, the first project, was your general fund dollars. The last one I just asked you to approve for the maintenance roof building was capital outlay dollars. It wouldn't come out of your general fund. This one is general fund dollars as well. So you have two that were general fund and your maintenance was your capital outlay appropriation. This one, we also in March asked you to approve a change order because we found some damaged roof that was identified from the infrared scan. This area of the roof on Campbell was pretty much over the library and your band areas. We're asking that the board pay at this point $147,350.16. That would leave a remaining balance following the punch. I'm kind of getting my figures. Well, here, let me back up just a minute and say that this project had an add of $887.46 as well due to that damaged roof. There was $16,897.06 in contingency under that particular BG1. So when you subtract the $887.46 from that contingency, it left a remaining contingency of $16,009.60, which brought the final project down by that amount. So it significantly came in under budget. And again, we had a change order request in March for that particular project that we will not have to tap into. It was a general fund appropriation in the amount of $4,637.70. So we're asking that we pay the majority of this particular project, since it's also been punched, but not completely punched, but we're asking that we pay the $147,350.16 toward that project, with the remaining balance to be asked to be paid in June.
All right, any other questions, Mr. Stump, or discussion? If none, the motion is in order to consider approval for pay application number 1 to Insight Roofing Contractors for the Campbell Junior High School partial re-roof project in the amount of $147,350.16.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Pereira. Second.
Second.
Second by Ms. Ritchie. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And then item number 22 is the facility renovation.
Okay, before I start this one, I forgot to add in the last project, this is the information. The insulated roofing threw in about 2,400 square feet of free roof for us on that particular project. And I'm sure Gordy will know exactly where I'm talking about. You know, the mezzanine that connects your 3 wings, that long strip of mezzanine, in addition to another T that goes into your D wing or your middle wing, that entire surface area on that roof was replaced by the company for free, 2,400 square feet. So I just wanted to mention that and to commend the company for doing that on their own as a good gesture. So we got a lot more roof than we expected on that particular project. Looks great up there, by the way. Okay, technology. We wanted to present this to the board to see if this is something that you were interested in pursuing at this particular point in time. As you are aware, the building that is maintenance currently is housed in has a lot of extra space in there, roughly 1,000 to 1,500 square foot of space in that building that could be utilized in some capacity. I've been speaking with the superintendent and our technology director. We would like to consider at some point in time, now if you'd like, to finish repairing that interior of that building so that it can accommodate a move of our technology department this summer. I've included in your packet a general list of projected costs associated with repairing that building to a point in which it would be conducive to moving technology in there. Of course, there was a lot of damage to that building due to the roof leaks, so there are quotes in there for ceiling tile, for drywall replacement, for floor tile, for some mini-split HVAC systems in the areas that we're talking about, and different core locks, changing core locks in the doors throughout the building. And the total projected amount that we think, considering that our maintenance department do most, if not all of that labor, would be roughly the figure that's noted in your packet, $44,895.81. We think with that figure, we could bring that building back up to a standard that would be conducive to moving technology in there in the summertime. We also talked about the possibility of moving our hubs from different buildings into that location as well to make them more secure. Out of the Phoenix Academy, for example, and the technology department has been pretty excited about the move. They've They've been out to the facility, they've looked in the spaces that we're considering. They've visually designed workstations in which they can work and repair on computers, software testing stations. I mean, they've given some thought to how the space that's available could be used in a capacity that would be conducive to their responsibilities as technology technicians and TRTs in the district. The areas that we're typically talking about renovating, of course, all the ceiling tiles in the entire building are included in that quote. The 2 rooms primarily that would house, or 2 or 3 rooms that would house the technology department are on the upper end football side of that building. 2 very large rooms and 1 across the hall that the board has typically used for a gathering place right before graduations, if you kind of get the perspective of that building. If you add those 3 rooms up, you're probably talking easily 1,500 square feet. That would be a lot more space that's currently provided to our technology department. There also included some preliminary costs for some workstation shelving and things of that nature. But we didn't include furniture or anything like that in this quote. But we think reasonably for that amount of money, we could bring that building back to life and to accommodate our technology department, if that were your interest at this point in time.
On the HVAC, it's $20,300. What will that entail? Is that a repair or adding units?
No, that would be 3 new mini split units in a large room that's at the end of the building, 2 new mini split units in the next building, 1 each in the front office areas. There's 2 vacant offices in that building at this point in time. So you're looking at 5, I think, and 1 rooftop, 8 units that would be brand new units, because none of those units are operating at this point in time. So they would be new mini split units.
I'm assuming they'll be high efficiency, but probably, though, because we're already conditioning that space where they're located right now, there'll be some incremental increase in our utility costs.
Yeah, we're not conditioning that space at this point, so there would be some expected increase, but they are high efficiency units without question.
And 1,500 square feet is what they would use?
I'm roughly anywhere between 1,000 and 1,500, depending on their needs. But we've appropriated that space to them if they feel that that's what they need.
And of course, then that frees up the space where they are right now for use for other areas.
That's correct. But at this point, we have the leaks repaired with the new roof on that facility, and there's a lot of space just not being fully utilized at this point in that building. It just seems a shame not to utilize that great building in some capacity.
Timeline on it this summer.
And this would be paid for?
We're asking you that you pay for it out of your general fund.
Is that in the budget that we're going to look at next week?
No, but there's an amount of general fund contingency money that's at your prerogative to spend. There's a set amount to keep set aside, and there's that amount that you're all to spend, and you've got $4 million in there.
I think July 1, you've got another round of capital outlay as well. I don't know.
Yes. Yeah.
If you want to address it, if this interests you at this point.
That could be done, it could be done on capital outlay also.
Questions or further discussion? All right, if not, a motion is ordered to consider approval of the maintenance facility renovation as presented for the purpose of relocating the technology department in the amount of $44,895.81.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Heisel,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Parado. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Stumpf.
Which brings me back to the comment I made earlier. Now, with technology moving there in the summer, I still don't know what to call that building. I mean, you can't call it a maintenance building, you can't call it a technology building.
It's just the old ATC.
Just the old AT, I don't know, I might consider naming it something, I don't know. Or selling it to be named. Mr. Heisel suggested.
We can brainstorm on that and bring that back to a future meeting. So that building will need a name, I agree. So. Okay, next up is item number 23, internal board business discussion of superintendent evaluation process for 2017 to include approval of evaluation instrument and dates and times for preliminary and summative evaluations. We have one board member who's not been through this process yet, so let me explain what we have done in the past. The past 2 years, we've used the state promulgated superintendent leadership plan, or SPGES, which is probably what, going away next year. So who knows what we will use for 2018. For the time being, this is the instrument that's out there. The previous state law basically said that we either need to use this instrument or come up with something on our own, which would be approved by the Kentucky Department of Education. The new law that changes that doesn't take effect until the end of June, so that law is still in effect. So what we have done in the past, the superintendent leadership plan basically has 2 areas. It's got the worksheet that was sent out by Ms. Nance. There's 7 standards, and there's indicators for each standard: exemplary, accomplished, developing, and growth required. And I have some, the original rubric which was sent out had some just basic vignettes for each one of those areas. So what we have done in the past is we've sat down and we've gone through all of these various indicators, and there's actually a summative, there's another separate page which is a summative evaluation, and it goes over each standard just in general. So basically you use these substandards to come up with an overall summative standard. So the board has also taken this opportunity to revisit its board goals, and we have not revised those goals yet for this year, so we're still operating off of the board goals for 2015 and 2016. And actually, as a byproduct of last year's superintendent evaluation process, you'll notice that board superintendent goals are on each item on the agenda. And we basically stole it out of the Department of Education. The State Board of Education has that. When you look at the State Board agenda, it'll say next generation learners, next generation instructors, et cetera. So, but they've taken essential things from their strategic plan and linked it to items on their agenda. So we did that so it'd be easy to follow which goals regard to which agenda items. So I think we've all got used to looking at that. So basically, the overall process is the board meets in closed session to basically hammer out these the rating instrument, and we deliver the summative. We have a preliminary evaluation we come up with. We meet with the superintendent. Usually there's a chance for back and forth. We make revisions, and then the final summative evaluation is presented in open session. So generally we do that at the June meeting. I was glad to hear Mr. Christie say that the TEL survey results are out already, because to me that's an important part of superintendent evaluation. That's the TEL survey, which I would wish it was every year, it's every 2 years, but I think it really gives me as a board member a good handle on what teachers think is going on in the district, and at least what certified personnel, what their concerns are, and whether their concerns of the work environment is being addressed in that. So I think that's an important key part to that.
Would that evaluation be before or after the summer KSBA meeting?
Before.
Okay.
We can make it after, but traditionally the board has, and actually looking at the board policy, it doesn't specifically state when, but traditionally we do it at the June meeting. So
that's one of the classes I have not gotten to yet, but I have looked into that, a self-study course on it I could take. So, are we limited to the areas that are on this form, or if we wanted to add another parameter on there?
I would say everything on that form is pretty comprehensive. And in general, it's taken us 2 sessions to get through everything. We're probably looking at 4 to 5 hours worth of work just to get through those. The advantage of doing it with looking at each of those indicators in detail is it's fairly easy to get to a summative. If you grade each of those individually, the summative one for the overall standard is fairly easy to come up with. So there are boards which look at this and they just do the summative thing, but
we all 78 standards. We do 78.
But no, it's pretty. It covers everything, Scott. I mean, it really does. It's if not repetitive, actually. So there are some things which come up in more than one place. So, but it's pretty comprehensive. So what I would ask for the board tonight is approval of this as the evaluation instrument for 2017, 2018, and then we'll need to sit down and figure out when we want to deliver the summative evaluation and when we want to do the preliminary evaluation.
Is it for 2017, 18, or 16,
It's
17?
It's 2017. We basically evaluate the calendar year, so. It just so happens to coincide with the end of the 16, 17 school year.
So you need, what do you need first? That we're gonna use that?
Yeah, let's approve the evaluation instrument, then we can hash out dates and times.
Okay. I'll make that motion to approve that instrument.
So, motion on the table, Ms. Ritchie, to approve the instrument that was presented as the evaluation instrument.
Second.
Second by Ms. Hicks. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'll abstain for right now.
All right, so 4-0
You're gonna need more
with
training.
Mr. Heisel abstaining. Okay, and then next would be dates and times for preliminary and summative evaluation. Now, let's see, the KSBA thing is in early July, and actually second weekend in July, if I'm not mistaken, so. They might have some self-study stuff that you can
Well,
use.
they do, already, but they have a self-study class on this.
So are we supposed to be looking at dates now, or is that later?
What day do you want to deliver the summative evaluation? Do you want to do that in June or July, or? Traditionally, we do June, so I don't think there's anything.
So we usually do the summative with the regular meeting.
Right.
Following or after the regular meeting. So that's the 20th.
That'd be June 20th. Is that okay with everybody? All right.
That summer session is called the Summer Leadership Institute. That's in July.
Right.
So no need to wait for that.
Let's see. So dates where we can do a preliminary evaluation. I'm good early, let's see, I'm good the 6th, 7th, and 8th of June.
Me too. Oh, wait. 7th would be probably better for me.
Okay.
I probably have T-ball on the 6th and the 8th.
I'm good on the 7th. Is that good for everybody? Let's say 6 o'clock on the 7th. And I'm going to pick a second date in case we don't get through everything on one, which has been the case in the past, so.
Did you say 6 o'clock?
Yeah, is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Probably do a day next week also, 12, 13, 14, 15 would be okay with me.
Do it any of those days? Tuesday or Wednesday next week?
Yeah. So maybe 13th at 6, would that be okay? Round 2, if we don't get finished on round 1.
Hang on just a second and I'll look, see when what day?
13th, Tuesday the 13th?
Yes, my last game through the week will be on the 9th, so I can actually do the 8th too, if you want to do 2 days back to back or whatever.
It's up to y'all. No, let me leave the 8th out, we're going out of town that weekend, so.
Okay, so 13th?
So 7th and the 13th.
Okay.
And do you want to meet with Paul the day of the June board meeting early, let's say 5:30? That'd be okay for everybody? All right, so dates for preliminary evaluation for board is going to be 6 p.m. on June 7th and 6 p.m. on June 13th. Preliminary discussion with Mr. Christie would be on the 20th at 5:30, and then summative evaluation will be given during the board meeting on that night. Do you want a chance to send us out? In years past, you've sent us out something which details your accomplishments.
I'm It's going to be greatly condensed this year. I'm not going to do a 75-page document. But I will give you something that has what I think to be the highlights of the past year.
Okay.
When did you start putting your goals on the agenda? Because you should be able to go back and look at those too.
Probably, I think, August last year.
Yes.
It's been
Right after.
been a part of
I mean, that should help.
Yeah. Okay. And what I will do is I will send out the past 2 years of evaluations using this instrument with our comments. Because we had comments written for each of the items here and then on the summative, and then we also had stuff written by board goals. So also as a byproduct of this, I think our board superintendent goals need to be updated. We've accomplished some of the ones on the current list. We're working towards the other ones, but I think those could use a little bit of an update. So I don't think we're too far from where we should be on those. So I expect the core of those to stay the same. Graduation rate, all schools proficient, or whatever they call it next year. All schools blue zone, I don't know. But we can, a lot of times, we'll get some ideas out of the discussion, and we can incorporate that into some forward thinking. So. Okay. All right, next up on the consent agenda, does anyone want to have anything heard individually off the consent agenda?
Do we need to change the date of the employee leave of absence for Alicia?
Yes. What was her first day out?
On the request, it was, the effective date was May 18th.
In the past, they asked for this before they actually go. So the only time I ever put it on here is when one time their name will appear on here. Even if they get an extension of their leave, that goes on their personnel action. And then.
Okay, so her effective date,
Would have been the day the baby came in. I don't know what
Right.
the baby's birthday was.
Okay.
But I have never changed that on here.
Okay.
Because they ask for these way in advance. And especially if they're on the ball, they do. And then sometimes they go early. That their return date will be on the personnel action. So I haven't done that. People lots of times don't go out when they plan to go out. What's your thoughts on it?
Would that affect benefits or anything, or some of that?
right, so it doesn't, this is not ever going to come back to haunt
No,
anybody.
when
We
we keep
actually
up with
record things
benefits
that
and
way.
days worked and sick leave and all this tracking, you track it on Outlook, on the Outlook calendar, and I have a shared calendar with my benefit specialist and the payroll department, and we look at all that.
So when we approve this document, that can't come back to say, but this person,
Well, this, no, she requested it. No.
okay.
When
And I
she-
understand the request date, the date of the request.
And when she returns from leave, it will be on the personnel action. I see what you're saying, I bet. It would have to be some sort of revised way of doing this, which I've never done in 6 years, so. But if you decide you want me to do that, I certainly can. Sometimes I don't know, Judy.
Didn't we
If
do
they're
that
in a
on,
different building, if the principal doesn't take the time to call me,
didn't we do that on Hannah Abner?
it's a revision of her date,
Because she was the same situation. Hers was earlier than she was
ended up
scheduled to
having a
go.
baby in November.
Right.
But I'll double check it and see if we did, but I don't think so. I don't think
Okay.
I ever put anybody on here twice, not on this thing. It's on here when they first request it and the board approves the leave. And then it's on the personnel action when they return for leave. Because like I said, if they're in the buildings, unless a principal picks up the phone and calls me, I don't always know when they went out right away, you know.
As long as it doesn't get the board in trouble.
It won't get the board in trouble.
Okay.
Just promise.
The actual dates of leaving and coming back is recorded in their personnel file, and then to the days, sick leave, number of sick leave days, and that's where it's accurately tracked.
Okay.
I've got a question about item 36.
Judy, there's sick leave days are, are kept up with in minutes.
Yes.
And that's based on ASOP, which is linked to Munis, and then they're taken away. So that's not an issue.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
On item 36, the payment of salaries, I happen to notice in the minutes from the previous month that those are detailed on there, but we don't have the detail at this point in time, so I guess I have two questions. Under 36, payment of salaries, what time period are we approving? Are we approving the month of what's already happened or the future, or what are we approving on that?
Future, I'm gonna go with that, and I'm gonna check with Alicia and find out for sure.
Are you watching, Alicia?
She is, she'll text me. I'm waiting.
Ding.
Well, you all never asked that question when the finance director's in the building.
So I get.
Shame. I'm gonna find out.
So what time period are we approving, and do the amounts get filled in later on in the minutes on a retrospective basis? Not to imply that I'm not for the payment of salary, just make sure we have that clear.
I don't know the answer to that question.
I think it's
Okay.
future.
I think it's
Yeah, I think
future.
it's
It makes
future.
sense to me that it would be
Yeah.
future because you're not gonna authorize payment that's already been made. So, but I will find out for sure.
Okay, just curious.
Payroll doesn't get added into the minutes until like after the meeting.
Mr. Christie, did non-accounts payable questions get addressed in the email?
Yes, they did.
Okay,
They
thank
did.
you. Is that what
I can
that-
about tell you what they were. Some of those were shirts for the student body at Concrete.
Okay.
There were shirts, T-shirts for the students.
And what was the Gallup one?
That's the,
The Gallup payment?
That's the-
That's for Teacher Insight.
Teacher Insight,
The-
our interview
The
process.
survey to measure the reliability of teacher performance in the classroom. whether or
That's an
not they'll be
annual
a
fee.
success.
And the last one for the cargo net, that was JROTC for their
Okay.
agility.
Okay, thank you.
Did we have the Gallup fee last year also?
We've had Gallup
Yeah.
before I even came
All right,
around,
so-
and the board approved it probably like in 2007, something like that, and we've been doing it ever since.
Not a new fee, it's a recurring fee. Okay.
I just did, it just jumped out at me. I thought, is this new?
No.
Okay. I remember Insight, but I just didn't remember the other term. Okay, thank you.
I'll point out one other thing on the item 34, the contingency budget report. There was an item there, $160,674,000 down. That's decreased for fiscal year 2017 final seat calculation. I'm assuming that's because the state is short and because the revenues were down, and that was their adjustment to us. So because our attendance had done this and then gone up at the end, so.
Well, should we
They
find
just
out?
do that, Scott.
Should we find out the answer to that assumption?
We can. I just want to point that out to everybody. And actually, that's something we can ask Dr. Bob next week at the budgeting thing.
160 and what?
$160,674.
I assumed it was a true-up having to do with real ADA numbers. But
But
again, that was an
that doesn't
assumption.
that adjustment doesn't get made until after the annual financial report, does it?
SAR, the superintendent's report.
So I suppose the question's outstanding is what is that adjustment?
I'm thinking it's because the state SEEK fund was underfunded. So, because basically the way SEEK works is the government sets aside X number of dollars for the biennium. At the beginning of the process, they assume that their projections are correct and that there's full 100% SEEK funding for all districts. So, oftentimes what happens is, A, there's more students than projected, so your denominator is lower, so the amount of money per ADA goes down. Or B, revenues fall short of expected, which is definitely the case this year. And if that's the case, it's not fully funded either. And in all years I've been on the board that this has come up, we're told to fund that as contingency. So, something as a board member, I always keep in the back of my mind. That's something that's always there. So I just want to point that out there.
Well, it'd be nice to get that answer between now and the next budget meeting.
Dr. Ball will be able to
Dr.
tell us
Ball
for
should
sure.
be able to
This is either one of those two things. So.
It does say right there, it says that it's the decrease for fiscal year 2017 final seat calculation.
Right.
But what part of the final seat, of the seat calculation cost it? The calculation or the legislature?
Good question.
That's what I thought it had to do with, with the very complicated formula. You know, when we were up that day and he said, I've got your seat numbers, that it had to do with that formula. Formulas, rather.
I don't think it would have anything to do with attendance, because that would come out after the superintendent's report is in, and that we would see that number in August.
You know, the calculation was.
Typically, it's like you said, it's a budget shortfall somewhere on their end. We have
That's about-
$600,000.
Right. So this is about the time that usually
changes.
changes. Just thought
Well, there's a bunch of components to that formula. I don't know, half a dozen components, and I'm assuming it was a true up of that, so.
Bottom
it'd be
line
nice
is
to
they
know.
got the money and we're not getting it. They're not sending it to us. So whatever the reason.
we still have to pay our teachers, so it's a must. So.
But I'll talk to Dr. Bob.
Okay. Okay, any other discussion on the consent agenda? If not, a motion is in order to approve or acknowledge all of the following. Item number 24, consider approval of GRC High School Orchestra Cincinnati Symphony in Kings Island on May 20th, 2017. Item number 25, acknowledge SBDM minutes. Item number 26, acknowledge Community Eligibility Program report. Item number 27, approval of employee leaves of absence. Item number 28, acknowledge a notice of personnel action report. Item number 29, acknowledge a cast position report. Item number 30, acknowledge the Clark County Clerk's Motor Vehicle Tax Report. Item number 31, acknowledge the Clark County Sheriff's Report. Item number 32, acknowledge monthly financial report. Item number 33, acknowledge the General Fund Budget Summary Report. Item number 34, acknowledge a contingency budget report. And item number 35, acknowledge the balance sheet report. A motion is in order to approve or acknowledge all of those items.
I move that we approve or acknowledge items 24 through 35 as itemized.
Motion by Ms. Hicks,
Sure.
second by Ms. Ritchie. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Motion is in order to authorize payment of salaries and accounts payable.
I move that we pay salaries and accounts payable.
Motion by Ms. Hicks. Second by Ms. Ritchie. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. A motion is in order to adjourn to closed session for two reasons. First, disciplinary hearings per KRS 61.810 subsection 1 subsection F, and also for litigation per KRS 61.810 subsection 1 subsection C.
The salary you're approving. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well,
Sure. I'll make a motion.
Motion by Ms. Ritchie.
With a little bit of a recess.
Yes, a little bit of
please.
recess. to agree we're good. Second. Second by Mr. Parrott. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Board's in closed session at 8:37 PM. We'll reconvene after a short recess.
Your salaries that you're approving are for another day.
I was always impressed with Wolf Rock City. Such an entertaining.
So we're recessed for a while.
I've gotta go get an elevator. It's melted and gross. This has been going on the last 2 months. I've got very